So we are in Crotona, and we is living large, like enormous. Everybody thinks Eumolpus is some rich dude and that we're his servants. And because he's so rich, they're like, hey, why don't we spend a whole ass load of money getting this rich dude drunk so that when he dies, which doesn't seem like it's going to be very long considering how old he is and how much he's drinking on account of us, he'll put us in his fucking will. So for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, we just party literally as hard as it's possible to party. Take that party throttle. Put it all the way at 150,000%. And then just party at that level forever and ever and ever. So I'm having a pretty good time. Even though I'm supposed to be one of his servants, like, we still get it in, you know. But then one day, I go out and I'm walking around and this just bodaciously, mind-meltingly hot babe comes up to me and she's like, yo, my name is Crisis. I heard your name is Polyanus. It's like the names are just getting way too realistic all of a sudden. But she's like, I'm the servant of this chick named Kirke, or Circe, whatever. It's written, and I don't know how to pronounce it. The people get really angry if you pronounce it either way. But anyway, her name is Kirke. And she thinks you're super hot, and she wants to bone you. And I was like, well, do you want to bone me? And she's like, no, I don't want to bone you. I'm a servant and you're a servant. I, as a servant, will only fuck a knight or greater. And my mistress will only fuck a servant or worse. That's just how it works because we're in Crotona and everybody's bastards. So anyway, come over here to this secret rendezvous. So I go over there and she leads me into this glade and I come upon this chick. I mean, I don't come upon her. I stumble upon her. And this girl is just like if my face was already melted up from the other one, this would heat my face up to the point that it would reduce it down and caramelize it into a thick face paste that you could then use to paint a face onto another dude who would also have a boner from looking at this girl. 'Cause damn! So, she's like, hey, you want to bang? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to bang. So we start going at it, right? But we're not banging yet. We're just kind of doing the foreplay. And then I get it in, and then I realize, holy shit, I can't keep it up. For the first time in my lecherous, horrible life, I cannot keep my dick hard. And she has no choice but to notice. So she's like, oh, what the hell? Am I not hot? And I'm like, holy shit, you're so hot. I just explained as a narrator how hot you were. I don't need to explain it again. And she's like, you get the fuck out of here. Nobody doesn't have a boner around me. That is illegal. And I'm like, god damn. So I run away and I go back to my house. And Giton's there and he's like, you seem upset. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just sick, you know? And he's like, well, would having sex with me help? And I'm like, fuck yeah, it would. And I'm like, holy shit. I can't keep it up. What is wrong with me? It's gotta be goblins or something. I got no idea. So I retire to my room and I'm just like, I'm sick. So now Giton's mad at me too. He's pissed off because it's illegal to not have a boner around him too, apparently. And then Crisis shows up and she's like, yo, I got a letter from my mistress that's like making fun of you for being paralytic and shit. And she's like super offended that you didn't have a boner. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? And she's like, just write her an apology letter. Be like, dear Kirke, I'm sorry I didn't have a boner. Love Polyanus. And I love polyanal. And I'm going to do anal on you the next time I meet you. Love Polyanus. And I was like, okay, I can do that because I would just love to bang her. So I write this letter. She sends it. I go then a couple days later to this same glade. But Kirke isn't there. Instead, Crisis brings out this old chick and is like, here, rub all these potions on your junk, pray to Priapus, get a hand job from this old lady. All right, now you're ready to go. Jump in there with Kirke. So I jump in there with Kirke and holy shit. I can't keep it up. So, of course, Kirke is furious at me now. She is beating me with sticks. She brings out her whole staff and she beats them with sticks and then she makes them all spit on me and everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? How can you not get a boner around this lady? I'm like, I don't know. It's goblins or something. But so finally she kicks me out and I'm like, just at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. Like, I basically just go home and I open up my pants and I'm like, okay, dick, you served me real well up to this point, buddy, and I know we've been in some tight spots together, both figuratively and literally, but I just, like, what do I gotta do, man? But my dick can't talk, so I don't really get anything useful out of that. So then I go to the Temple of Priapus. Now, Priapus, as you know, and as I really, really know, is the god of having a boner all the time. So, I go into the temple, and I'm like, Priapus, I will give you anything you want. Just give me my boners back. Please give me my boners back. And Priapus doesn't say anything, but this priestess comes in, and she's like, all right, come in here. I'm going to handle this. If anybody can handle this, this is a priestess of Priapus. So come in here. Come in here. All right. First, we need to shuck these beans. We got to get all these beans out. And then we got to make some tea. Then I got to go out, because the fire's going out, and get some embers. You just stay here and guard the beans. So I'm staying there and guard the beans. All of a sudden, these 3 geese show up at the door. Now, I fucking hate birds, as does any sane person. So I run up to these birds, and I'm like, get out of here, birds! And one of them grabs my shoe. Another one pulls out my loincloth, and the third one just starts fucking biting my thigh. And I'm like, Jesus, you're going down, duck. So I smash that fucking duck. Or, goose. Yeah, it's a goose. Which, it turns out, is a holy animal to Priapus. So the priestess gets back, and she's like, what the fuck did you just do? You just killed a goose. That's, like, worse than people murder. That's worse than, like, anything you've done in this story up to this point. I'm like, how do you know what I've done in this story up to this point? She's like, I'm a fucking priestess. You gotta get out of here. And I was like, do I still have to get out of here if I give you $20? And she's like, fuck no, you don't. I will fry up this goose and we will eat it together. But that still doesn't solve my boner problem. So what she does then is she sticks a big leather dildo up my ass and hits the rest of me with stinging nettles. And I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, God, this isn't helping. This is just making me sad. And she's like, oh, it's not making me sad. And I just run the fuck out of there. I go back home. Gitan's like, you look terrible. I'm like, I feel terrible. So I go to bed and I pretend to be sick again, because that's the only way, given my lifestyle, that I won't be forced to try and put my boner in people, which I can't do. Meanwhile, Eumolpus has this other scam going on. See, there's this lady who wants part of his fortune, and the way that she's going to get part of his fortune is she just leaves her kids around, her hot young kids, for him to have sex with. And they're down with it. They get the plan. So he's fucking the daughter, and the way that that happens is, since he's pretending to be, like, sick and almost dead, he gets his servant to be, whose name is Corix, which is kind of a creepy name, to be under him like a table, and he gets the chick to straddle him, like, on top of him, and then Corax under him is like, huh, 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 and she on top of him is like, huh, huh, huh. So they're doing that, and it's fucking hilarious. And meanwhile, her brother is outside watching through the peephole because he's a creeper, and I go up to him, and I was like, are you a creeper? And he's like, yeah, I'm a creeper. I was like, hey, me too, we should bone! Forgetting about my boner long enough to actually have successful sex with him. And then I'm like, holy shit, I'm cured. I can go back to being a fucking bastard. But you know who else is being a fucking bastard too much is Eumolpus, like I said. So he's starting to overstay his welcome here. And the last straw is he calls everyone in who thinks they're going to be in his will. And he's like, all right, guys, you're all in my will. I'm going to give you all this extravagant shit, but you know what you got to do? When I die, you got to eat my body. You get whatever you want just as long as you eat my body. It's fine. I know you can do it. Y'all are cool. You can eat my body. And they're like, wait a second. You know what? This sounds like bullshit. And as soon as they say that, me and Gitan are like, pew, let's get the fuck out of here. So we just start running. We end up, I don't know where. And a couple years down the line, I hear that they killed Eumolpus by feeding him delicious food for a year and then leading him to a cliff and dropping him the fuck off. So that happened. So I guess the moral of the story is that you should never stay in the same place long enough to get in trouble for being a total bastard. It's worked for me.